Hi, everybody. My name is Dennis. I am not a professional comedian. I don't pretend to be. I'm up here because I lost a fantasy football league a few years ago, and these guys over here are punishing the hell out of me. So, the good news for you is I only have to do this for 3 minutes, not 5. That's our deal. So be prepared for the worst, most disappointing 3 minutes you've had since my wife on our wedding night. So a lot of people, do anyone play fantasy football in the room? There we go, okay. So a lot of people think fantasy football is like something that like losers do, you know, these grown men watching dudes run around. That's not true at all. That's just the guys that win. That's why I'm up here and they're down there, right? So it's kind of a cool league though. We've been around for 22 years. You might think that's a long time for, you know, us to watch young athletic men run around and tight pants and things, and it is. But you'd think by now we'd be better at it and I'd have the practice and I wouldn't suck and be up here. So this punishment is supposed to be happening in 2020, but we all know what happened at that time. So my friends over here have been telling me for years that I've been ducking this. And reality is, I want you all to know, I started the global pandemic and that is my fault. So a little more about me. I'm 45 years old. I've got 2 kids. It's about that time in life where I can start some luxuries, have a sports car, do some traveling. Instead, I just have 2 damn kids. So I do love my kids, though. They're in 4th and 6th grade. It means I'll be about 57 years old when my son gets out of college, hopefully. When I'm 58 years old, my wife's going to divorce me. So one thing I love about my kids, though, is that they're really into sports. And it's great because I like to go to sports games because you can get all kinds of side betting action from all the dads. It's unbelievable. $10 for little Johnny, see if he's going to win a game and knockout. $3 my kid scores a goal over your kid. It's fantastic. The problem is my wife won't let me go to games anymore. The reason? I kept betting another team to win. I had to explain to her, honey, if we don't win some side cash, how the hell can I afford to send on all these practices? So I don't do gamble on real sports, though. I got a bunch of friends into online gambling, and one came up to me the other day, and he's like, look, I got a foolproof bet. Give me $1,000. I said, well, what's the bet? Sounds great. He goes, coin flip in the Super Bowl. Can't lose. I'm like, isn't that a 50-50 split? The guy goes, well, you know, there's this, every time there's a night game, it's 75%, and this referee throws it 90% and everything. And I said, I'm in. It's about 100%. My wife kicks my ass when I make this bet. Good news is he won, but I'm still married, so we think we know who really didn't win. So I've got a few parents. My parents are around. They're great. They're great grandparents, always around helping out. They don't make great choices. They're getting a little older in life. The other day, my dad called me up and he says, Dennis, good news. I started an investment account for the kids' college fund. It's going to pay for everything. I said, Dad, that's awesome. What'd you go with? Fidelity, Merrill Lynch? He goes, no, that dude that called me up the other day and tried to sell me an extended warranty on the truck. 25% guaranteed, and he gave me 3 free years in the extended warranty. That's great, Dad. So you know, one thing you should know too, I'm kind of a person trying to keep myself busy around the house. You know, I'm always trying to do projects and things, which is a really easy way for me to say I like to avoid my wife and kids. I will say that my wife's always asking, well, why don't you get professionals to help you? And I said, honey, professionals, like, they make space shuttles that still blow up. My buddy Seth, he's made a tree stand with duct tape. It's been up for 20 years. So the one thing I think I'm taking a thing with Seth is that he kind of helps me out a lot. I think it was the 3rd weekend in a row last year. I told him, Seth, why don't you come over and help me out? I need to borrow your ramp so I can put my truck up, do an oil change. I don't know how to do it. Seth came over, put the truck up in the ramp, cut my brake pads. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Eli, come on, for Eli, everybody.
Part of the same group, so lower your expectations, my friends. How you doing, Portland? Portland, how we doing tonight? Thank you. When my 2.5-year-old was, when my 13-year-old was 2.5, I don't know why I'm speaking in such a deep voice. Somebody said louder, and I decided to go louder and deeper. Anyway, when she was 2.5, she said, how's it going, Dad? I said, good, Claire. How are you? And she started picking her nose. I said, Claire, please stop picking your nose. And she said, Dad, I'm not picking my nose. I'm just looking for boogers. Any golfers in the group? All right, a few. I think a lot more downstairs, probably. But I'll tell you a quick golf story here. This was about 20 years ago. I was playing with a friend of mine, a couple friends of mine in Colorado. We'll just call him Dennis. And we finished the front 9. For those of you that don't golf, typically you play 18 holes. And after the front 9, you go in the clubhouse, you get something to drink, go to the bathroom, get something to eat, whatever, and then go out and play the 10th hole. So we take care of business in the clubhouse, and then we go out to the 10th hole. Well, Dennis just doesn't look right. Doesn't look right. I said, "You doing okay, Dennis?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Let me just hit my ball. I'll be good." Dennis tees up his ball, hits his ball, and just drops his club and runs for the clubhouse. We're like, all right, I guess Dennis is not okay. Anyway, we proceed to play the hole. We kind of look back a couple times and see that Dennis is finally out of the clubhouse on his way. Comes onto the green as we're finishing up, and takes a couple putts to get the ball in the hole. We said, "Dennis, how'd it go out there? What'd you get?" He said, "Fellas, it's my first diarrhea double bogey of the day." A few years later, in about 2007, Dennis and his wife decided to refinance on their house. Rates were good. So they had an appointment to go to the refinance to the bank at about 4 o'clock. He and his wife were, coming from 2 separate directions. His wife said, "Dennis, are you going to be on time? Sometimes you have trouble with time management." And Dennis said, "I'll be fine, honey." So Dennis starts to pull up to the bank, and all of a sudden his stomach just does not feel right. He gets into the building. He's like, "It's 4 o'clock, but I can't go to the appointment. I gotta go to the bathroom." Goes to the bathroom, gets a text from his wife, "Where are you? We got to sign the paperwork." Well, wasn't the golf course, but this was the Dennis diarrhea. Story number 3, don't worry, folks. There's just this last one. This is, maybe my favorite. This happened during COVID. Dennis did not start COVID. By the way, that's not true. This story is not about Dennis. This story is actually about his friend Nate. So during COVID, Nate got into his 40s, and his doctor said, "Listen, Nate, you look very healthy, You're in good shape, but we are going to have to do make sure your prostate's doing okay, make sure you don't have cancer." So Nate said, "All right, well, that's fine, but I don't feel like going in for a procedure." And he said, "Is there any other option than going in for a colonoscopy?" And the doctor said, "Well, there's this thing called Cologuard." Anybody know about Cologuard? All right, great, thank you, appreciate it. So Cologuard, basically, you shit in a bag, you put the bag in the box, and you ship it off for them to test to make sure that you don't have any signs of cancer. Well, Nate, gets very problems sometimes getting the details right, but he thinks, all right, who has trouble shitting in a box and sending it off to get tested? Well, apparently Nate does, because what he did was he shat in a bag, put it in the box, followed all the procedures, put the label on the box, brought it to UPS, comes home the next day, sees a box on his front stoop that looks pretty familiar. His wife pulls up around the same time. "Jesus Christ, Nate, did you fucking send the shit back to yourself?" He did. He sent the box of shit back to himself. He's a self-shit shipper, folks. Thank you very much. Sorry for those of you that had to sit through this shit show, but hey, that's all I got. Thank you.
I'm sorry, everybody. All right, and then I think this is, I'm sure last but definitely not least of this group, make lots of noise for Nate, everybody. Woo!
Thank you. How's everyone doing tonight? Woo! You guys can raise your expectations a little bit after Eli. My name's Nate. I'm from Newton, Massachusetts. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. My name's Nate. I'm from Newton, Massachusetts. I didn't grow up in Newton. I grew up in Billerica. I didn't write this material for a, thank you. I didn't write this material for a main crowd, but Newton is kind of a well-to-do suburb of Boston. I would not describe Billerica as well-to-do. Billerica is a little bit more like probably a lot of Maine towns. Thank you. Billerica is probably like a lot of Maine towns, blue-collar, working class. Newton is not like that. Newton is more like, so, Billerica, think like Biddeford, Lewiston, For Newton, think like, imagine for a minute if Maine had a year-round affluent community that valued education. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I figured I'd get you on my side. It is interesting, though, raising a family someplace like Newton. When I grew up in Billerica, I have 2 boys, and when I hear some of the things that come out of their mouths, I want to stuff them in a locker. They say things like, did you pack my bag for Nana's beach house? Is the cleaning lady coming today? I actually don't even know if I would bully them as a 12-year-old or if I would just be confused by what they say. Billerica didn't have second homes. Billerica didn't have cleaning ladies. We had homophobia and thinly veiled racism, but we didn't have cleaning ladies. But then I talk about how spoiled they are, but really I'm the one that's spoiling them. They're not the ones that are Venmoing Maria every 2 weeks to clean their rooms. They're not the ones that are driving themselves to the Nana's beach house. That's me. I'm spoiling them. And I think that in a lot of ways we're all spoiled a little bit by the time we live in. You know, I took the kids to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last night, and to kind of get ready to see Guardians of the Galaxy last week, we watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on Disney Plus, and then we like YouTube and watch like snippets of other important Marvel movies to kind of like get ready to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Like you compare that to what I did. So like 1980, 7 years old, I went and I watched Empire Strikes Back, and then nothing. I did nothing for 3 years. I talked about it for 3 years with my friends. 3 years later, Return of the Jedi came out. We went and watched Return of the Jedi. My kids would lose their absolute shit if they had to live in a world like that. They were like Googling how many bonus scenes there are going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and when the release date is. They couldn't handle it. Video games is another thing that they're spoiled by. I play Madden with them, and it looks and feels like you're actually playing an NFL game. My brother got me like one of those throwback Atari games where you can play like old school video games. And you know why kids played outside in the 80s? Because video games were absolute trash in the 80s. I tried to play it with my kids. Thank you. I tried to play it with my kids, and there was like, see that group of dots? That group of dots is your team. And see this other group of dots? That group of dots is my team. And see that third group of dots? That's the football. Like, yes, Connor, I know that third group of dots is the same size as my football player, but just go with it, please. It is sad. I do still like to play video games. I'm almost 50 years old, and there's really nothing like the look of utter disdain that when my wife walks downstairs and sees me with a headset on playing PlayStation. I'm stuck on playing Fortnite right now still, which is like, it's, thank you very much. It's an older game, but I still like playing it. So the premise is, so 100 people, 100 online players will go. They'll all join this game. They get onto this flying bus. The flying bus drops them on an island, and you land on the island with nothing. You scavenge for guns and building materials, and then you try and murder 99 people. It's good, clean fun. It's good, clean fun. But I'm a busy man, so there'll be times when I like get on the bus, and then you have like a 1 or 2 minute wait before the bus goes and drops you on the island. So I'll like try and multitask during that time. So I'll go upstairs and make myself a cup of coffee, or I will get a load of laundry started. And if I time it right, I'll come back. I'll wrap it up. I'll come back downstairs, and there's so much Fortnite to get to. I'll come back downstairs. Thank you. I'll come back downstairs, and it's too late. I missed it. Somebody has killed me, and I'm gone. Or I'll go upstairs and make myself a cup of coffee, and I'll come back downstairs, and there'll be 2 other people just standing there who presumably have gone upstairs to make their cup of coffee or started their laundry, and I'll kill them in cold blood and then go on to the other 98. There was one time I went upstairs to make a cup of coffee, and Maria had moved the K-cups into the wrong cabinet. So I ran out of time. I was like, there's no way that I'm still going to be in this game. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to be dead. But I go downstairs, and some psychopath has literally built a house around me. It had to be 10 minutes. They went out, they scavenged for guns, building materials, came back, built a house around me, and that was it. They waited. They waited for 10 minutes. I went downstairs, I was confused, I picked up my controller. As soon as I picked up my controller, they hit me with a shotgun. And I was like, in a lot of ways, I was just impressed with the patience they have. To like the sheer will to just go and ruin somebody's day. I hope I didn't ruin anyone's day. Thank you very much. More Fortnite next time, right? More Fortnite?
Yeah,
more Fortnite? Yeah. I should have spent more time on Fortnite.
Let me see. I'm going to do you guys in order. That's something I've said before. Dennis. I already said that, but Oh, yeah, you spent a lot of time talking about gambling and fantasy football, and it was very boring, it was very long. It was like an episode of The Sopranos, but the only thing that died was my will to live. Eli, your 2-year-old wrote the best jokes of any of you guys. Oh my God. You're set. I hope you're a better golfer than you are a comedian. Your set was a lot like golf. It was a lot of long walks, and you didn't end up anywhere. Let me see. Nate, I didn't write any callbacks because I couldn't hear your jokes. No, I couldn't tell if you're from Billerica or from Newton. I just know that I never want to visit either of those cities. You were up here explaining the rules to Fortnite and also the niche differences between two Massachusetts towns. It's like if an autistic 10-year-old could also be an alcoholic, you know? It's like, it was amazing.